Welcome to Golden Rule Wisdom, a sanctuary for those seeking light in the darkness and strength in times of trouble. In a forgotten corner of the world, an ancient temple stood silent, surrounded by the thick mist and whispers of time. For many years, this sacred place had remained undisturbed, nature slowly reclaiming the stone structures with vines and soft green moss. At the heart of the temple hung a massive bronze bell, silent and imposing, waiting for a sound that never came. One day, a small sparrow arrived, weary from a long journey and searching desperately for a place to rest his wings. He spotted the giant bell and thought it was the most magnificent structure he had ever seen in his short life. He flew inside the hollow metal dome and realized it was perfectly sheltered from the wind, the rain, and predators. Convinced he had found the perfect fortress, the little bird began to work tirelessly, bringing twigs and soft grass inside. Day after day, he wove the materials together, creating a warm and comfortable nest, hidden away from the dangerous outside world. When the work was finally done, the sparrow sighed with relief, believing he had secured the safest home in the world. Storms raged outside, thunder crashed, and rain poured down, but inside the heavy bronze bell, the sparrow remained completely dry. He looked out at the wet world and felt pity for the other creatures who had to endure the harsh elements. He congratulated himself on his intelligence, thinking that no other bird had ever been clever enough to find such protection. But comfort can be a dangerous trap, for it blinds us to the reality that nothing in life is truly permanent. The sparrow stopped exploring the forest, preferring to stay within the dark confines of his metal home, safe but stagnant. He slept late into the mornings, ignoring the beautiful sunrise and the songs of other birds celebrating the gift of life. However, change is the only constant in life, and one morning a group of monks returned to the ancient temple. They were preparing for a sacred festival, a day of celebration that required the awakening of the long, silent temple bell. The sparrow heard the footsteps below but dismissed them, arrogant in his belief that his fortress was impenetrable to anyone. An elder monk approached the bronze giant, holding the heavy wooden striker that had not touched the metal for decades. The sparrow was dreaming of endless worms and soft breezes, completely unaware that his world was about to shatter forever. With a mighty swing, the monk released the log, and it struck the bronze surface with the force of thunder. Boom! The sound was not just a noise, it was a physical force that shook the very air around the temple. Inside, the vibration was catastrophic. The carefully built nest disintegrated instantly, and the sparrow was thrown into a state of panic. Deafened and terrified, the little bird tumbled out of his sanctuary, barely managing to spread his wings before hitting the ground. He landed on a distant branch, his heart pounding against his ribs, watching the object of his safety turn into a monster. He watched helplessly as the remnants of his hard work, his home, drifted down to the cold stone floor below. Tears welled up in his eyes as he cried out to the universe, asking why such a tragedy had happened. He thought of the warm nights and the safety he had lost, feeling that his life was effectively over right now. Why me? I did nothing wrong. I just wanted to be safe. Why did the world have to be so cruel? The bell continued to ring, each strike a painful reminder that he could never return to the place he called home. Realizing that staying meant enduring unbearable pain, the sparrow knew he had to leave, though he had nowhere to go. With a heavy heart and tired wings, the little sparrow took flight, leaving behind the only home he ever knew. He flew aimlessly over dense forests and jagged rocks, fear gripping his heart as the shadows of the evening lengthened. Hunger gnawed at his stomach, and thirst parched his throat, making every beat of his wings a struggle against gravity. A fierce wind attempted to smash him against the cliffs, testing his resolve and pushing him to his physical limits. He landed on a dry branch, gasping for air, and whispered to himself that perhaps it was time to surrender. But deep within his small spirit, a quiet voice emerged, urging him not to let this moment be his end. "Keep flying," the voice whispered. "The pain you feel is simply the breaking of the shell that held you back." Gathering his last ounce of strength, the sparrow pushed off the branch and soared higher than he had ever flown. He broke through the grey clouds and found himself bathed in golden sunlight, the air crisp and invigorating against his feathers. Far below, the landscape changed. The barren rocks gave way to a lush, vibrant valley that seemed to glow with life. With hope reignited in his heart, he dove down towards the canopy, drawn by the promise of water and shelter. As he entered the forest, he was greeted by the sweet scent of blooming flowers and trees, heavy with ripe fruit. A crystal-clear stream meandered through the garden, its waters singing a melody of life that quenched the thirst of the land. The sparrow landed and drank deeply, the cool water washing away the dust of his journey and the sorrow of loss. He looked around and saw he was not alone. The garden was alive with friendly creatures living in harmony and abundance. He realized that this paradise was infinitely more beautiful, spacious, and alive than the dark, cramped bell he had mourned. He found a sturdy branch on a magnificent ancient tree, offering a view of the entire valley and the rising sun. He began to build again, but this time he built not out of fear, but with a sense of joy. The new nest was stronger, larger, and filled with the fresh air of the garden, far superior to his old home. Standing on the edge of his new home, the sparrow looked back in the direction of the old temple and reflected. He realized something profound about the tragedy that had befallen him, seeing the bell now with gratitude rather than anger. If the bell had never rung, if his world had not been shattered, he would still be trapped in the dark. He would never have found the strength to fly this far, nor discovered the paradise that was waiting for him. Like the sparrow, we often cling to our comfort zones, mistaking familiarity for safety and fearing the unknown world outside. We build our nests in places that are too small for our potential, hiding from the winds of change and growth. When life strikes our bell, destroying what we thought was permanent, we feel panic, pain, and a deep sense of loss. We cry out and ask why this is happening to us, failing to see the hidden blessing in the destruction. But often the destruction of the old is absolutely necessary for the construction of the new and the evolution of the soul. The universe pushes us out of our comfort zones not to punish us, but to force us to spread our wings. Disasters are often invitations to a better life, disguised as unwanted endings to chapters we were afraid to close ourselves. So when your world shakes and your nest falls apart, remember the little sparrow and his journey to the secret garden. Do not waste your time mourning the loss of the dark bell, for it was never your true home to begin with. Let go of what is gone, dry your tears, and look up towards the horizon where new possibilities are waiting for you. Trust that you have the strength to fly through the storm and the wisdom to find a place of greater abundance. Sometimes the things that hurt us the most are the very things that save us from a life of mediocrity. Embrace the change, welcome the unknown, and believe that your greatest days are still ahead of you, waiting to be discovered. As night falls on the garden, the sparrow sleeps soundly, not because he is hidden, but because he is finally free. He has learned that true security comes not from thick walls, but from the ability to adapt and fly through adversity. Let the bells of life ring. Let them shatter your illusions, for in the wreckage you will find your true wings. Growth is often painful, and change is often scary, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck where you do not belong. May you find the courage to leave your broken bells behind and seek the garden that has been waiting for you. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope this story has sparked a light of hope within your heart. Please subscribe to Golden Rule Wisdom for more inspiring stories. Remember that every ending is truly just a new beginning waiting to unfold.